Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few different things. Number one, we're going to be starting with the Russell. Then we're going to be looking at stablecoin dominance, XRP, and the Sigma coin. So, all right. So first, we talked about this yesterday's video, and I thought this was very fascinating and interesting. So we're going to pop over here to our daily time frame for the Russell 2000. And you'll note I've drawn two lines here, one from the prior all-time high way back in 21, and then one from the fake out all-time high we got in November of 24 before we could get expansion, where we ended up doing a ABC down, and then we did an ABC up, and then that ultimately led to the 5-wave move to the downside. And this time, if you remember here, if we look, you'll see this kind of ABC right there in the middle, and that led to that flat that was created for the Russell here. But now, this time, with all this chop that you saw through here, this time on the Russell, we actually don't have that chop, right? You see, we just kind of keep marching higher, and there's not as much crossover as there was back in the day through this region, and that region right there. So that's a bullish indication that we have coming in here at this point in time. And then from that, we had ourselves off of the high, an A, B, C breakdown. So nice, beautiful expansion, very little chop. And now we are actually breaking above and getting ready to close today. So we'll see how today works. But we've now made it above the two prior highs that we had back in the day here. And now we're just trying to see if we can get into a sustained expansion. So resistance will probably be found through this region, but we're definitely looking impulsive with these candles that are coming in because the Fed is no longer selling starting December 1st their bonds, which is going to make better credit risk, and they're making comments about how there needs to be more liquidity pushed into the system. So that means small cap companies have a risk on benefit because they are no longer messed with the expansion in the overall crypto market, in the overall being they can borrow and grow. So that's the idea. So now we jump down to the dominance here. So we take this information, we say, okay, so we have that happening. Well, how's everybody been feeling in crypto land? Well, they've been feeling pretty bad. So we have here the combination of USDC dominance and also the Tether and Circle dominance together. So we have a impulsive move off the lows as these take into adoption over the coming years. Then we had from 22 a reduction in stables as they were buying probably Bitcoin and other things through 2024. But since then, they've been actually going back into cash or these stable coins. But we did it with a 5-wave move to the downside, an ABC up, which could still possibly go higher. And then the expectation being is that this larger ABC with gaps right here and even down here would give us another breakdown that would have us see the dominance of stables fall from in the 8% range into the 3% range or even down into the 2% range. So giving us a potential alt season setup as money's moving out of all this cash into risk on assets now that the Fed is out of the way, that we could see already happening here with the Russell. So you ended up having 5-wave move off the low, an ABC. And then looking at this right here, you can kind of see that we have a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so there could be one more squeeze higher of the combined stable coins moving up to 9.96%, which would check with the potential for one more swing lower on Bitcoin, freaking everybody out, getting this last kind of 0.5% dominance move up here or 0.25%. And then that would ultimately finish that move and we would roll over. But we did hit the 886 and we tagged it and we rejected. So we are potentially done, just depending on how you view this count right here. And so that was pretty interesting, right? And we're also stuck at and around this 200-week moving average that we're now building support on. So yeah, probably one more squeeze, one more flush out, one more scare. So, all right, now this is now taking this now forward to XRP. And what we have going on today. Well, XRP, when we zoom in on the shorter time frames, we can see, let's do 30 minute, okay. We can see this structure forming here, right? So now we're going to ask ourselves, what is this structure and what are we looking at here? So I went back in time and decided to see if I can find any other confluences to XRP's price action that looks similar to what we're doing right now. Now, simple view, right? Super simple. Let's just go with the basic setup here. You've got yourself some 5 waves. Okay, 5 waves. And you do an ABC down, right? Super simple, right? That's what we're easily able to see here with a ABC move to the downside like that, and then this thing is done, and we can start working our next leg higher. Okay, so that's a super simple direction and view that we could just have, and that's probably the most likely because what's simple is probably the correct answer. But then when we jump out to this 4 hour, actually let's go a little bit less on this one, 2 hour. Okay, so here's the price action, right? So we had a capitulation low, a breakout, a bear flag, and then a breakdown off of this move. Okay. Well, way back in the day, we had a 5-wave move up, and then we ended up having a capitulation breakdown, bear flag setup, and then it came down, bounced, and fell. Came down, bounced, and fell, bounced, and set the higher low right here. Okay, so this is how I'm reading this right now. Obviously, this could be considered the higher low, which is what we just discussed, which if we're right here, okay, does the higher low, and then from there, the breakout occurs shortly thereafter. So we could potentially be looking at a higher low off of this kind of move, and we come down, we set into this area here, and then we're out, right? Alternatively, though, I thought this was kind of interesting. Off of this section here, you have this chunk, that guy, an impulsive breakout, a grind higher, and then another breakout, a grind higher, another breakout. Then we end up going and we do this chop right here on top of this region here, right? And we just float in space time, and we just sit here and we just kind of bounce through this region, which is kind of what we've been doing so far. Now, then that ends up expanding to the next leg, and we don't come back to these gaps down here in these 50-cent region, just like these are shown right here. So depending on how you want to view this, we could say capitulation breakdown, move back up, okay? Then we have another breakdown, move back up, another breakdown for a higher low, and then off of that low, we build our new support here with a bull flag, which is what this is basically doing. Breakout, backtest, off. Breakout, backtest, off, right? So we're basically, because this grinds so much and then rolls over, this doesn't have a grind. This is a very clear 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's this wave 2. Makes me think that we may be much further along than where we thought we were, because of the fact that XRP could just trade sideways and then get out of here and do what we did back in the day where this became a parabolic run. So just something interesting to think about. Off of the capitulation, I thought that was the best part of this whole thing. And you can actually see a breakout, an A, and then we come back up to the top of this range, A, B, C, and then a breakdown. And if we know what's going on here with XRP, when we look at the larger time frames, let's zoom this out. There we go. We had a breakout, A, B, C, ABC down, ABC down, ABC up, ABC up, 5 capitulation move. And then we had this structure off the lows, capitulation move, this structure off the lows, and away we went, So could be much, much closer than I think anyone's thinking about based off of just kind of what I'm seeing here. So we'll watch. So again, base case is that we are looking at a ABC down and then ascend, right? But the fact that we have the ability to go in and look at this price action here, which is very similar to this price action here, makes me think that we may in fact be sitting right in this spot here, getting ready to go. And now when we take that same logic and we say, okay, well, where's our Bitcoin dominance going? Well, our Bitcoin dominance is sitting with the breakdown on these levels, getting ready to accelerate as it falls through. We go in and we look at our dollar coin and our 2 stables. They too look like they're getting ready to roll over after completed ABC to the upside that could have stopped out short on the 886. Then you've got the all of those things together, and then Bitcoin dominance is just continually grinding higher too, as it's already working its way out of here for this completion of this level, and it's just grinding up with bull flags, right? Finding resistance, but it's getting higher. So something interesting, just something I was looking at this morning. And we ultimately have then on top of that Sigma, which is a derivative of XRP. and a layer 2, I guess you'd call it, has also set a higher low and is now itself grinding right out of here and moving back into the region. So it makes me think that we may actually be seeing money rotating back into the Sigma coin and everything starting to get pretty amazing here pretty soon. So yeah, but yeah, liking this nice reaction off the lows so far for Sigma. So we'll see, obviously, if that holds or if, what we're looking at requires one more low, but definitely an interesting setup in play. All right, so hopefully that was helpful for today and how I'm looking at the markets, and we will check in tomorrow.